my name is Jenny Campbell and welcome to Campbell's Gold Honey Farm and Meadery.
Hi there, I'm Judy Campbell. I'm the production manager at Campbell's Gold Honey Farm and Meadery.
And I'm Mike Campbell. I'm the general manager of the Meadery.
Bees are absolutely integral to the health of our local food systems, our environment. Without bees, if you imagine your bowl in the morning and you take 1, 2, 3 scoops of food, turns out 1 out of every 3 scoops is completely dependent on pollination. In fact, a lot of people say that without pollination, you'd be eating rice, beans, and maybe some lettuce. So not a great palate.
The actual journey from the hive to the jar it doesn't happen all in one day. So we have to make sure that there's adequate forage, which is basically flowers. And if there's not adequate flowers, there won't be honey.
What happens is the bees do this perfect process where they take the nectar, which is a big, long sugar chain, into a sort of a factory that we call the honey stomach in their body. In the honey stomach, enzymes break down the larger sugar chain into small sugars, up to about 100, and then they basically throw it up to each other. So they puke it into their sister's mouth, which sounds way grosser than it is, but it's kind of funny. Every time they do this process, trophallaxis, what happens is the next sister's honey stomach removes water and cuts down the sugar into smaller pieces. And when they do that, and they decide, well, now the water is below about 17.8%, they then put it into the honeycomb, fan it with their wings, and cap it with wax. And that honey will never go bad.
First, we have to understand that honey is the bee food, so we're not going to take very much of it. We're going to take only what we think that hive can spare. We'll look in the hive and we'll look in the frames, and if we find capped honey, that means the honey is capped with a little bit of beeswax, and we have a full frame, about 2/3 cap. We know that we can take that frame as long as we've left some behind. They build out the comb, and the new comb is always lighter. As soon as they have used that cell for either a baby that's born or food, they will clean out the cell and they will then coat it with a thin layer of propolis, which is their beehive antiseptic. And the more often they do that, the darker it gets. So it's always a very hygienic place to be in a hive. So we'll take the honey, brush the bees off, and we'll take it into the honey extraction area where we'll uncap the frame. We'll spin it out in a centrifuge, which we call an extractor. We will put it through a filter bag or some kind of filtering system, and then we'll put it in a filling tank, fill jars, put them in the store, and off they go for sale. But that can't all be done in an hour or a day, because actually after you extract the honey, it has to separate. The wax separates, just like cream separates from milk. Wax will float to the top, and then basically it's easy to bottle. So it's probably 2 to 3 days from the time you take a frame out to the time you've got a polished jar.
The way most people could really impact our local honeybees and our local native bees, which we have about 450 in British Columbia, is simply by being aware of nature. If you don't have flowering plants, you don't have bees. If you disturb soil or use a lot of pesticide, you don't have bees. And if you're wondering what to plant, that you don't have a very big space, just plant herbs. Herbs are hardy, they're tasty, and bees like them too. Let your dandelions grow and cut them back when they're finished blooming. Petition your local urban environments when new subdivisions go in to put in flowering trees and shrubs and things like that, so that there's room for us, there's room for bees, and try not to disturb the soil where our native bees live. They're really important too. What I hope the next generation understands about bees and the value of caring for them is that there is no us without bees. They are our food supply. They are how nature reproduces and does everything that it needs to do to be healthy, and we are healthy when we are part of nature.